Good afternoon and welcome along to this Community Elements show. We've come through to another room here at Victoria Gospel Hall because right outside the studio there's a very large refrigerated lorry making a lot of noise. So we've come through here to what I think is the committee room for the church. It's nice and quiet here on the other side of the building. And it's a lovely, lovely sunny day outside as we record this. Blue sky, though we did have a bit of rain last night, but...
It's very pleasant now.
Yeah, it is indeed. Right, Brian, what have we got coming up? I think it's something to do with partying.
Yes. A historic venue is calling on Aberdonians to switch back in time to celebrate its 90th birthday. The Beach Ballroom is marking the milestone anniversary next month by inviting people to take part in a special event. Harking back to the roaring 20s, the Elliot Murray Big Band will provide a night of entertainment and nostalgia for the venue's anniversary on May 3rd. Elliot was the musical director of the Royal Scottish National Orchestra Big Band for 7 years. People will get to dance the night away to music spanning the past 9 decades. Music from artists like Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw, Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, through to Stevie Wonder and Bruno Mars will be played during the evening. As part of the celebrations, the venue is also hosting an open day on May 6th. Guests will have a chance to walk around the ballroom and look at its rare archives. The ballroom was officially opened in May 1929 with a masked ball and a carnival. It was built at a cost of £40,000 as part of a beach improvement scheme by Aberdeen Town Council to encourage visitors into the area. Its Art Deco design, octagonal shape and red tiled roof make it a prominent feature on the beachfront. It was a popular spot for young people in the northeast throughout the 1930s until the outbreak of the Second World War. The building was used by military servicemen who slept on makeshift beds while away from home. The iconic venue survived the harrowing Blitz in Aberdeen. Over the years, the venue has hosted famous artists including the Beatles, The Who, Status Quo and Pink Floyd. Big names like Cyril Stapleton, Joe Loss and Victor Sylvester also brought their orchestras to the Grand City. The Lord Provost of Aberdeen, Barney Crockett, said, "The Beach Ballroom means so much to so many people." Over the decades, the Beach Ballroom has hosted an ever-widening range of events and functions from corporate dinner dances, royal visits, dance competitions and wrestling to pop concerts, fashion shows, afternoon teas and even mixed martial arts championships. This year, the Beach Ballroom is looking back on 9 decades of music, ensuring that there is something for everyone to enjoy. Many fabulous memories have been made during the past 19 years, and I would encourage people to come along to the open day on Monday, May 6th. To mark its 80th anniversary, Aberdeen City Council produced a book celebrating Aberdeen's Beach Ballroom, History and Memories 1929 to 2009, with first-hand accounts of the building's functions after the war. People who want to put on their dancing shoes to help mark a special milestone can do so from 7 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. To find out more information about the ballroom's anniversary, visit bit.ly/21XHBSK. A former policeman from the northeast has arranged a memorial service to mark the 35th anniversary of his colleague's death. John Murray, who is originally from Bucksburn, was standing next to PC Yvonne Fletcher when she was shot from a window of the Libyan Embassy in London on April 17, 1984. She died in hospital a short time later at the age of 25. John, whose vow to get justice was the last words Yvonne heard before she passed away, has organised a memorial service in St James's Square on Wednesday, the spot where the shooting took place. John, who left Aberdeen at the age of 16 to join the Metropolitan Police, said, "When Yvonne was shot, I was standing next to her, and it was me who went with her in the ambulance when she was taken to hospital. Throughout the morning, we had swapped places 4 or 5 times, and if we had swapped one more time, it would have been me. It was a horrendous experience to go through, and for a long time I felt it should have been me instead of her. When we were in the ambulance, I told her I would get justice, and those were the last words she heard. Ever since that point, I have been campaigning. John, who lives in Chingford, expects several hundred people to attend the memorial service in honour of Yvonne. He said, "It's going to be a particularly poignant occasion because, as well as being the anniversary of Yvonne's death, it's also 100 years since the first female officers. I'm expecting about 300 people to be there, and although she can't make it to the service, Metropolitan Police Commissioner Cressida Dick is going to lay a wreath beforehand. It's being led by the National Police Chaplain, and there will be a lot of different organisations there. It will be a special occasion." He added, "We have got to keep fighting for justice. I have been campaigning for the last 35 years, and I'm going to continue until it happens." Most children would be delighted to receive cash for Christmas, but not 6-year-old Alfie Douglas. The big-hearted Bridge of Dawn youngster spoke to his parents and insisted his £30 should go to children less fortunate than him. Alfie, who lives with Mum Kelly and Dad Alan, has now chosen to give the money to the Archie Foundation, which helps support sick youngsters at the Royal Aberdeen Children's Hospital. The Forehill Primary School pupil, who visited the charity to hand over the money, said, "I know I am lucky, and there are children less lucky than me, so I wanted to give my money to the hospital." Beaming with pride, Mum Kelly said football daft Alfie was always conscious of other children and never liked to see other kids miss out. The 33-year-old said, "At Christmas time, Alfie came down and told us he felt he was really lucky about how much stuff he got for Christmas. We did tell him he was very lucky and not every boy or girl got as much as him, and he said he had lots of pennies and wanted to give it to them." My other half and I were an emotional wreck after that and were stunned at the time. He is only 6, and not a lot of kids at that age would possibly think of that, as some might just want to spend their money. Kelly said Alfie's compassion isn't just limited to sick kids. She added, "Alfie loves his football, but he never likes to see anyone being left out. He is always the one to make sure that everyone is involved at school." The youngster, who plays football for CBC Hilton, visited the Archie Foundation at Royal Aberdeen Children's Hospital to hand over the money. Ellis Mackenzie, fundraising coordinator at the charity, was on hand to tell him about the work they do and how his donations would help sick children. She said, "We'd like to thank Alfie for his generous donation. It is really sweet of him to give his Christmas money to us." A new lunch group to help alleviate loneliness in veterans with sight loss has been launched. Scottish Warblinded is steering the new get-together, which will take place every second month in Aberdeen. The charity's members, who all have sight loss, can go along to meet fellow veterans at Caf4e Credo for a chat lunch provided free of charge by Scottish Warblinded. It aims to tackle social isolation, something which many veterans are struggling with as a result of sight loss. Research carried out by the organisation showed 2/3 of Scottish Warblinded members said the issue had resulted in them experiencing loneliness. The new event in the city means that the charity now runs lunch groups in 18 locations across Scotland. Scottish Warblinded outreach worker Ingrid Penny, who runs the group with fellow outreach worker Margaret Forrest, said, "This is an exciting new event for Scottish Warblinded members in the Aberdeen area." Ingrid and Margaret both support members of the charity living across the area. The new event is the third lunch group they offer in the region, with Ingrid also running a monthly lunch group for veterans with sight loss in Inverurie. Margaret runs a monthly Scottish War-blinded lunch group in Stonehaven. Margaret said, "Carers and partners are also very welcome to accompany members to their lunch groups. It's a fantastic way for them to meet others and have a bit of a break too. We will also, on occasion, be welcoming guest speakers, such as members of the Scottish War-blinded Rehabilitation Team, who can provide helpful tips and expert advice on our veterans." The next Scottish War-blinded Aberdeen lunch group at Caf4e Credo on John Street will take place on May 7th from 12:30pm to 2pm. Scottish War-blinded gives free support to former servicemen and women of all ages, no matter if they lost their sight during or after service. We have a scripture taken today from Psalm 62 verse 7, which says, "In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God." Amen.
Brian, can I thank you very much? And what
My pleasure.
a good session of stories we had, particularly about Alfie Douglas, who, as a young child, I remember being so always blessed at Christmas, and as a young child you want to have things like train sets, or you want this, or you want that, but for him to actually have been brought up to even be encouraged to give in this way, give the £30 that he would have otherwise received to the Archie Foundation, and continuing that on at school and making sure that no one was left out.
It's totally amazing, this actually. There's not many children are like this,
No.
but obviously the parents have brought him up in such a way that he feels this way.
Yeah.
But so the parents ought to receive a bit of thanks too, but most certainly Alfie, I think.
For doing that, yes.
I wasn't like that as a child.
No, I wasn't. I mean, we were encouraged to give and we were encouraged to share, and Dad used to get involved with MenCap, mentally handicapped people.
Yeah, very good.
Which was very good. I didn't always quite see it like that as a small child. And I found it was a little bit of an encumbrance, but later on in life, of course, you see it differently, because then you see the need and you see how people are really needing that extra help.
So true. So
then there's the charity lunch, which is a great thing for ex-servicemen and women who have been
fabulous,
who have been blinded. So people are recognising not only the contribution that they gave, but people are recognising that they too can bring value back into their lives.
That's true, because many of them say that they often feel lonely because of their condition. But this is an excellent way of dealing with that loneliness and giving them back life. I think I was very encouraged when I came across that story, and it was a must for the radio. It's a tremendous one, that.
So definitely what we do is try and make sure that we put out on the website all the links to the various organisations, and not least now to the memory of
Yvonne
Fletcher.
Yes.
So not least to that, and the good work that's being done by John Murray and other colleagues and John Murray in particular, to make sure that justice is done, or seen to be done. I don't know how it's going to be done, but you know what, with prayer anything is possible.
He is keeping it in the limelight.
And he's keeping this whole thing alive as well.
And he's keeping his promise to Yvonne.
Yes.
His promise to her was just the last things that she heard, before she passed on. So in a way, it's an encouragement, knowing that she felt good as she was dying. Not because she was dying, but because of the justice that would result.
What we can do is to pray that justice will be done.
Indeed, indeed.
Then we've got our second story, first story, which is the story of the beach ballroom, and really iconic. Actually, it went up this last week with two groups of school children from Tullis School. And we stood at the top of Tullis, and we could see the beach ballroom very clearly glittering away. The red roof, which is very distinctive.
Of course.
And one of the questions we asked the children, because we were doing a fire walk. Now, this is not a walk over hot coals. This is a walk telling children why fire is dangerous, and explaining to them how if you were enveloped in smoke, you wouldn't be able to see anything. And one of the dangers to the fire service. Did you know that there were only 6 fire engines for the entire Aberdeen area?
Only?
Only 6 fire engines. And it costs them thousands of pounds every time they come out. So if you have a fire on a hillside, that can take up almost all 6, and then they have to bring them in from different areas, including from Dundee, I might add.
Oh yes, I believe.
So if your house is burning down, but we asked children how long it would take if a fire was lit on Tullis. How long did they think it would take before it would reach, the smoke would reach the beach ballroom?
Of course.
And with a wind, even a breeze, it could be as quick as a minute. 1 minute.
That's serious news.
It travels faster than Usain Bolt can run.
Oh. And he can run.
He can certainly run. I mean, we're getting a little bit away from the subject, listeners, but it reminded me of the view from the top of Tullis and seeing the beach ballroom there, and how quickly an iconic building like that could suffer, or be enveloped in smoke, or anything else. It stood this long, and let's hope it continues.
Indeed, because it's a special building. It really is. And I'm looking forward to going on the 6th of May to do a tour of it, to walk around, because it is a special building.
Yes, it is. So that's all good. Brian, can I thank you very much for that? And can we get you to read out the scripture once again?
Willingly. From Psalm 62, verse 7, which says, "In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength and my refuge is in God."
Brian, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next. In fact, you're going to be taking a break next week.
Oh.
I know, but you'll actually get to hear this program once again next week. But then the following week we'll be back to normal again. So just into the first proper week of the second week of May, shall we say. Thank you.